Gather round, folks. Pull up a chair, because we've got quite the tale to tell about the Japanese Grand Prix, the 16th race of the 2023 Formula One season. Max Verstappen, our Red Bull ace, claimed victory, outclassing the McLaren duo of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, who claimed second and third respectively. Now let's rewind a bit. The race, set at the iconic Suzuka circuit, saw Verstappen defending his lead against Piastri right at the start, allowing Norris to sneak into second place. Norris, not one to back down, applied pressure on Verstappen but couldn't quite snatch the lead. Piastri, the rising star, held steadfast at third. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it? There was an incident involving Valtteri Bottas of Alfa Romeo and Alexander Albon of Williams, with Zhou Guanyu of Alfa also finding himself in the mix. This led to the safety car being called out. Adding to the drama, Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes and Sergio Perez of Red Bull collided. Perez had to make a pit stop to change his front wing and tires, opting for the hard compound. With all this commotion, the race was restarted on lap 4. Shortly after, Mercedes teammates Hamilton and George Russell locked horns. Russell managed to briefly pass Hamilton, but the 7-time world champion was quick to reclaim his position. The race saw its fair share of penalties, with Logan Sargent of Williams and Perez each receiving a 5-second penalty for incidents involving Bottas and during the safety car period, respectively. Moving forward, on lap 12, Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin made his pit stop and switched to hard tires. Perez, in another unfortunate event, collided with Kevin Magnussen of Haas, leading to both drivers retiring from the race. The race resumed post a virtual safety car intervention, and Max Verstappen, maintaining the lead, switched to new medium tires on lap 17. Hamilton opted for hard tires, while Norris also switched to hard tires on lap 18. After the pit stops, Piastri overtook Norris for second place. However, on lap 27, McLaren asked Piastri to let Norris reclaim second place. Verstappen, unshakable in his lead, ruled the race. On lap 36, Piastri and Norris made pit stops to switch to new hard tires and rejoin the race. Verstappen echoed the strategy and held his lead. The top 3 positions remained unchanged till the end, with Piastri securing his first podium finish in Formula One. In summary, it was a momentous race for Verstappen and Red Bull, who extended their lead in the championship. Verstappen now stands poised to potentially secure his 3rd Formula One title at the upcoming race in Qatar. Hold onto your hats, folks, because the Formula One world is not slowing down. Hey there, Formula One fans! This is your host Enzo Watts coming to you from sunny London. We're excited to be back on the F1 Motor Fever podcast channel, bringing you the inside scoop on all things Formula One. With me today, as always, is our seasoned commentator William from Birmingham and our eagle-eyed trackside reporter Victoria from Bristol.
Thanks, Enzo. It's great to be here. I'm eagerly looking forward to discussing the thrilling details of today's race.
Hello, everyone! I've got some exclusive trackside updates that you won't want to miss.
Fantastic. Now, we're here every day and on special occasions during race weekends. So, if you're not already subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and never miss a minute of the action. Don't be shy to leave a comment, and be sure to share with your friends and family. Your support truly keeps our engines running. And let me tell you, we've got some gripping insights lined up today. You won't believe the nitty-gritty of this incredible race. From unexpected incidents to awe-inspiring performances, we're diving in to give you all the details on what happened. So buckle up, because it's time to hit full throttle. Let's dig a bit deeper into the race itself, shall we? After defending his position from Piastri right at the start, Verstappen effectively slammed the door shut on any early attempts at an overtaking maneuver. This move by Verstappen allowed Norris to make a bold move to second place. Despite Norris's valiant attempts at taking the lead, Verstappen maintained his position at the front, with Norris and Piastri settling in second and third, respectively. Now, the race wasn't all about the top 3. There was drama further back in the pack. An incident involving Valtteri Bottas of Alfa Romeo and Alexander Albon of Williams brought out the safety car. Another Alfa Romeo driver, Zhou Guanyu, was also caught up in this incident.
Yes, that's true. And let's not forget the touch-and-go moment between Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes and Red Bull's Sergio Perez. Perez had to make an unexpected pit stop to change his front wing and tires, opting for hard compounds. It really goes to show how quickly things can change in a race.
Absolutely. On the fourth lap, the race was restarted, and almost immediately, we saw a bit of an internal rivalry spring up between the Mercedes teammates, Hamilton and George Russell. Russell even briefly managed to pass Hamilton, but the seven-time world champion quickly reclaimed his position.
It's interesting, because in the heat of the race, all the focus tends to be on who's leading, who's overtaking. But these internal team dynamics, they're crucial too, aren't they?
Very true. In fact, it's these smaller moments, these clashes and rivalries, that are often the most revealing. They tell us as much about the drivers and their instincts as the race results do.
That's something I've never really considered before. It's definitely food for thought.
Now, isn't it fascinating how these circuits each carry their unique challenges, quirks, and histories? Take Suzuka, for example, the venue of today's race.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the most legendary tracks on the calendar.
Quite right. Now, for those who might not be familiar, Suzuka is one of the oldest tracks in the Formula One calendar, dating back to its first race in 1987. It's one of those original old-school tracks, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And its unique figure-8 layout, coupled with a mix of high and low-speed corners, really makes it a challenging circuit for the drivers. And let's not forget the infamous 130R turn.
Ah, the 130R. Named so because originally the radius of the curve was 130 meters. Although it's been reprofiled, it remains one of the most exciting and fastest corners in Formula One. Let's see how our drivers tackle it in the upcoming races, shall we? Moving further into the race, we saw penalties being handed out quite liberally. Logan Sargent of Williams was given a 5-second penalty for an incident with Bottas, which unfortunately saw the latter having to retire from the race.
Indeed, and Sergio Perez also received a 5-second penalty for an infringement during the safety car period. His race didn't fare much better either, did it?
No, it certainly didn't. Perez had a run-in with Kevin Magnussen of Haas, and both had to call it a day. It was so severe that it prompted a virtual safety car.
Ah, the virtual safety car. A relatively new addition to the sport that is already having a significant impact on how races are managed.
Absolutely. And speaking of race management, we had quite a few strategic pit stops as well. Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin made an early pit stop on the 12th lap, switching from soft to hard tires. On the 14th lap, we saw Piastri pit, swapping his medium tires for hard ones.
The intricacies of tire strategy never cease to fascinate me. It's such a critical part of the race, yet it often gets overshadowed by the more dramatic events on track.
That's very true. It's a balancing act of timing, tire wear, track position, and, of course, a bit of luck. The impact of a well-timed pit stop is often only truly appreciated in hindsight.
You're absolutely right. That's a perspective I'd never thoroughly considered before, but it's certainly worth reflecting on.
Now, moving further into the race, we saw Hamilton and Russell once again getting into a tussle, with Hamilton pushing hard against Russell. Following this, we saw a flurry of pit stops from Verstappen, Norris, and Hamilton, all opting for hard tires. Norris, unfortunately, lost his position to Piastri during the pit stop phase, while Russell stayed on track.
It seems like McLaren were playing quite a strategic game there, didn't they?
Yes, they did. In fact, on the 27th lap, McLaren ordered Piastri to yield the second place to Norris. But their positions were switched again during the second pit stop phase, and in the end, the top three positions were maintained till the finish line, with the Australian rookie Piastri claiming his first podium in Formula One.
And what an achievement that was! I'm sure we have a lot more to look forward to from Piastri in the remainder of the season.
It certainly was an eventful race, full of twists and turns.
Indeed, from the penalties to the pit stop strategies, and not forgetting the intense on-track battles. It really was a spectacle.
And it just goes to show, the outcome of a Formula One race isn't just about speed. It's about strategy, patience, and sometimes a little bit of luck.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that every second counts not just on the track but in the pits as well. That's what makes this sport so fascinating and unpredictable.
So true. And with that, we're nearing the end of our post-race analysis. But before we wrap things up, we'd like to invite you to stay tuned for more exclusive content and special live sessions.
Definitely. You wouldn't want to miss that.
Now, it wouldn't be a complete episode of our F1 Motor Fever podcast if we didn't take a moment to hear what the fans are saying online, would it, William?
Absolutely not. Let's dive into the World Wide Web and pull up some comments. Looks like the main discussion today is on Scabu89's post. He said, Williams is devastated after Logan's crash in Q1.
A real blow for the team indeed. What are the comments coming in?
Well, Celan E. Amber responded with, he's costing them a lot. And RealMouse554 added his perspective. The look on that mechanic is the look of someone who will now have to work all night.
Not an easy job being a mechanic in such situations.
Absolutely. And Terratron27 chimed in with a similar sentiment. Knows he'll have to work all night, and there's a good chance the driver bins it again the next day.
Oh, that's a tough one. Any lighter notes?
Well, Diddly Dum joked, can't we just send him out with a broken car? It's gonna come back broken anyway. And Checkitbeck offered a more human perspective. That was my thought too. He is realizing he's going to have to break a promise tonight.
It's indeed tough on all fronts. Anything else?
There's a lot of discussion about Logan's future with Williams. Zaviex opines, he needs a huge reset. I don't see the point in keeping him in the car now, even if you intend to have him there next year. Nothing good is happening.
It's always easier said than done. But that's the nature of the sport, isn't it?
Certainly is. Silver Lion sums it up nicely. I'm an American, and while he isn't my favorite driver, I certainly keep an eye on him as it's cool to have representation in the sport. I am struggling to convince myself that he will ever be a top name, but still always keep a passive eye to see where he ends up when it isn't back in the garage.
Well, the love-hate relationship of fans with their drivers is not new, and it's this passion that keeps the sport alive. Let's hope for the best for Logan and Williams in the coming races. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of F1 Motor Fever podcast. Thank you all for joining us as we dissected the recent race, the thrilling strategies, and of course, the pulse-pounding battles on the track.
And don't forget the internet comments, as enlightening as they were entertaining.
Absolutely, we couldn't have been more delighted to share this discourse with all of you. Please do consider subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications so you'll never miss another episode. Share your thoughts in the comments, and do spread the word about F1 Motor Fever podcast to all your friends, family, and fellow Formula One enthusiasts.
And maybe even to those not so enthusiastic about F1. You never know, we might convert them. Anyway, we're already revving up for our next episode, so do join us then.
A big thank you from both of us here at F1 Motor Fever podcast. Until next time, pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road. Our channel's content is pure gold. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.